Fnatic, in my opinion, when trying to pile on to the backline here. Yes, okay, there's Ghost Flash on your mid laner, but it was kind of like Unicorns of Love changed after they saw Alistar Gnar and just like swapped it around and said, okay, we go for Pope now.
We'll have to find out how that works out, gentlemen, because picks and bans are locked in. It is time to settle the score between the Unicorns of Love and Fnatic. And Fnatic have an uncontested Nexus, and they will finally win the spring split!
I want revenge.
After we play final with them, I really think that they're a really strong team.
The games against Unicorns are very chaotic, that they just fight for no reason.
I want to play against them now with Reckless as AD carry.
We had new pocket picks and new strategies and whole different stories, so they can't prepare for us.
Fnatic will try as hard as they can to win the game as well, so I can imagine just a bloodbath as always.
A bloodbath as always from Power of Evil. Unicorns of Love and Fnatic are on the rift for Game 1 of the 2015 Summer Split. Gentlemen, I did have to cut you off in picks and bans to hear from the teams, but let's pick it right back up.
Yeah.
With that last pick from Febiven. LeBlanc on his Assassins in some favorable matchups. He 1v1 Faker a few times and really stepped up in the playoffs. Let's see how he does today against Power of Evil and the Unicorns of Love.
And I think it's a really, really smart pickup, especially because you look at the picks from Unicorns of Love with the Nunu jungle as well. There's not going to be a whole lot of pressure on the lanes, and Nunu can't really contest these early wards here that Fnatic loves to use. We always see them very early on pink in the rivers, so they can start roaming between the lanes. When you have Gragas and LeBlanc, it's one of the strongest 2v2s you can ever have. That should be full control of Fnatic to then go down and gank this Kalista any lane. That's so annoying to deal with if it is a 2v2.
So in reply to that Nunu pick, a person I want to watch is Reignover. I want to see how he controls the early game of this game. I think it's going to be vital for Fnatic whether they start snowballing, making those picks. We said in the introduction, Fnatic, they make a lot of kills in the 0-15 mark, and it might happen again. I wonder if Reignover is actually going to go for an early side clear, 2 or 3 camps, and go for a cheeky level 2 gank on mid.
Definitely seen Reignover being very active in the early game beforehand. He had a great showing at MSI. Notice what Fnatic did just before. Febiven jumped over the wall of the dragon, placed the ward on red, so he's going to spot Kikis and see where he starts once he either goes for red. If he does that, that's what you often see if someone wants to go for very, very early play, where you can get red buff, take one camp and to get the blue buff, and you have double buff before the 320 minute mark.
Now this gives a lot of information. Both buffs are warded as far as I know, and then this basically can let Fnatic deduce what UOL is doing behind the scenes, right, in the dark. They actually prediction swap from UOL, but not matched by Fnatic. Fnatic is just going to do the Grump here. Ashe, Alistar pretty slow on doing that. No W taken either to move the Grump closer to the lane. They expected a 2v2 and they were willing to take it, but Hylissang sees that it's a lane swap. He's going to take full XP here, hit level 2, and he might go straight mid.
Fnatic does have vision of it, so the whole surprise is kind of gone for Unicorns. We have seen this strategy quite a few times in the UOL. They already pinged him. Reignover
he's going to find a jungler. Yeah.
2 guys, yeah, he's just going in to see what he can find. No gank should be able to happen because Fnatic has been able to follow him since the Grump.
Well, we'll find out what Hylissang and the rest of Unicorns can do as we do see that lane swap coming in. Let's touch on that Reckless Ashe, as it is the first time we're seeing that reworked Ashe in the LCS.
Yeah, rework Ashe. We're not going to see too much. Like, she's in the lane swap. There's nobody.
She kills those creeps though.
She will destroy these creeps here. But notice how both junglers, they were starting on the weak side of where the dual lane was going. We had the Nunu take red buff on his own, and we had Gragas Gnar take their own red buff on top side. So now we just swap down. Both teams are basically sending 4 guys down towards the bottom lane. Let's see if there's an early dragon for Fnatic. That's very hard to do now with the new buff dragon.
The way this went down though makes the game pretty predictable because there are no freezes, right? Both lanes are slowly pushing into the towers. Basically, both teams are working with a lot of information, and I think this favors Fnatic in a sense so far because they get their rough bottom lane through the lane, even though I don't know if they counter mind gamed UOL or if they're just very, very confident in their laning ability.
Reminds me of the old 4VOs that we saw towards the end of last year. We do see UOL a little later to joining that top lane party, but do do have a whole lot of minions to work with, and it looks like Fnatic will secure the first objective of the game in this bottom lane tower.
And let's see if Fnatic wants to bounce the wave here, or if they want to push it very hard in and try and go for tier 2 tower in case Unicorn stays on the top side. You can see how they're now just waiting for the tower to clear out as many minions as possible.
They may have overpushed, so that tower might still go down.
This tower is going to die, and there's going to be loads of minions left to push it down to the tier 2. So there will be some farm to be picked up. Oh, no, minion stop. There we go.
I think it'll push back in it. Huni will stay here, so that's good. You could have extended this a little longer because Ashe is a BF sort AD carry. Kalista, depending on what build she goes, you could prolong the laning phase. But Fnatic is deciding the tempo, right? They take the tower and the dragon, and UOL can't trade with an extra objective. They just get that one tower, so Fnatic taking the lead here.
I definitely like this play, and I don't even think you care too much about the fact you only get a pickaxe, because Kalista, in order for her to be really lane dominant, she also wants that BF sword. So if you just speed it up for both of you, so instead now has to just go for some lifesteal and now pickaxe for Reckless. So he's gonna have some good early trades. Like, the thing about the new Ashe here is she can basically do two things. You can do the very quick trade where it's auto attack volley, and you just back away and you should have won that trade. Or if you stack up your focus, you can activate that Q, and then you have a few seconds where you're going to be stronger.
Fnatic being really smart here. They know they've taken the tier 1 tower on bot lane. They've taken a dragon. There is no reason for Ashe and Alistar to be on the bottom side of the map. It is very likely that Vardax and Hylissang are going to swap back to bottom. Keep dodging them, you know. Let Huni range farm against them. They're not going to take the tower too quick. They're not going to kill Huni, because Huni is pretty good at, you know, dodging these devs. And then they're just going to go for another tower. And Fnatic is just scaling that Ashe upwards and upwards until they get comfortable levels, until the Alistar hits level 6 and can start roaming and tower diving.
I want to see how Fnatic handle themselves once they do get Reckless to level 6. Because they do have a combination of champions that fits their playstyle, finding those kills. But this level of coordinated defensive play almost is quite uncharacteristic from Fnatic. We've seen it from UOL when they run their range poke mids.
Reaction from Fnatic here. Bot lane's frozen by Vardax, so they send more members up for a cross-map objective in the top lane.
We can see both teams are reading the exact same thing here. Unicorns knows by freezing the bottom lane, they have to send guys up and defending the top tower before Fnatic even moved in position. So we got 4 guys versus 3. Everyone is against each other. Let's see if Fnatic want to try and go for any of these aggressive plays, Trevor.
They want to go for the Annie here.
See if they can focus them down, gentlemen. 4v3. Fnatic are looking. They want it. That's a 2-man stun from Hylissang. That's going to dissuade the aggression as the minions have been killed out. You see the Yeti going onto the horns of Yellow Star's Alistar. He's been caught out. That's a 2-man pulverize. The rest of UOL peeling away. Now it's Hylissang that's in trouble. The barrel and the volley slows him down. Huni connects with a boomerang, but nobody's caught just yet, and everybody gets out alive.
I really like them. The Fnatic playing with their number advantage. Yellowstar held on to his flash actually because he knew backup was coming. Huni, however, a little overeager, had to blow his flash.
Oh, it is a level 3 Narc that needs to back away. 15 CS versus the level 4 Chachi, and we did see Power of Evil's Roam forcing that summoner spell. If you look down the CS numbers, even as far as the opposite numbers are correct. So let's just see who can get the advantage from all these shenanigans.
Yeah, Unicorn staying and trying to defend. Here's the dive.
Oh, they've got on Hylissang. That's the bounce and the hop. First blood goes to Reckless. He's back for Fnatic and he's already on the board. Takes 2 turret shots before he's forced to peel away. Rain over Huni and Yellowstar. They want Kickers. They get Kickers. Vizichachi's the next target before Rainov is forced to flash to safety. The volley, and that's 2 kills for Reckless. Fnatic 3-0 at the 7 minutes.
And I just love how they stay up here because they know they have the 4 guys. They have good poke as well from Reckless, and they're just waiting for one mistake from Unicorns of Love. Notice if we get a replay how Hylissang was standing a bit further behind the tower, behind his teammates, so Fnatic could jump him, get the tower aggro, and quickly step back out of it, and therefore juggling really well, get that early kill, 3 kills even now. It's a bit late.
Look at that, Power of Evil forced to flash, 110 HP, the Ignite's ticking, the Ignite's burning, the Ignite is not enough. And Power has the Evil to survive.
And I just want to highlight, you know, we said it before, Fnatic is just more efficient. They read that freeze beautifully, and UOL, look at the bottom lane right now. Kalista's doing nothing, and they chain that CC so beautiful. Knock into knock, multiple knockups, Physio.
And look at this from Yellowstar. Because Annie is so far behind the tower, he can go in, he can tank up 2 or 3 hits and safely step out before he ends up dropping too low, and therefore now these big tanks and everyone from Fnatic just dancing in and out means they can keep diving.
Notice how there was no tower again for about 2 seconds right there, and they waited for one of their tanks to pick it up and then juggle it again. Beautiful execution from Fnatic. They're playing with a new member, Reckless. He was involved in that tower dive, and already they're perfectly in sync. Fnatic is showing up today.
And this right here as well, is one of the reasons we don't very often see someone freezing lanes anymore, because it simply opens up for the other team to make an active play, an aggressive play on the map with a numbers advantage. Vardax was just sitting stuck under his tier 2 tower. There was no reason for Fnatic to ever back away and go back to defend, because he was just stuck there.
And the worst part is, once things start going wrong, Vardax wants to start pushing out his lane, because he just built up a lot of gold. He wants to go shop. But at the same time, the mistake's already made, so Reckless is coming from base with a BF pickaxe, you know. Now Vardax is getting can be zone off the wave that he froze earlier.
Yeah, and just very quick to take note, Hooney's picked himself up that Giant's belt on his Gnaw. Keeping tabs of that, we've seen some Black Cleaver builds in some of the other regions, so we'll see if he sticks to this full tank. But Reckless left alone in the top lane with all of that attack damage, and a Vizichachi to run down if he wants to.
Just getting everything he wants at the moment, and so is Fnatic, because Hooney could go down and catch the big wave here. Kalista obviously not really that great at instant pushing it out so early on.
But you pick Kalista Annie, one of the strongest lanes in the game, and you don't adjust your game plan to at least get a 2v2, get an objective, get any type of skirmish. No, you sit there and freeze with the stronger early game carry, and you let your late game carry on the other side be protected by his team. Very, very poor strategy by UOL so far.
Yeah, and you definitely cannot disrespect the damage late game from an Ashe after this rework here. The Q from her is insane in terms of what you can do as long as you time it correctly and you don't get forced out of the fight. I want to quickly talk about Power of Evil and his items here. He was one of the first players to start bringing Luden's Echo on nearly everything. He normally builds it on these long-range poke champions as well, but he's adjusting because he's laning against Febiven on LeBlanc. He's going to go for the Athene's build. It is less poke damage, but you're going to have some more mana regen, and you're going to be a little bit more safe when you're sitting there and poking from range.
Fnatic's playing really well as a team. You know, they had a lane pushing out on top lane, but instead of forwardly pushing it out and not losing the farm, they recognize that Dragon's coming up. They're sending Reckless to the bottom. Uni is top lane with TP right now. UOL started Dragon. Is Fnatic going to contest that?
The thing is, if they can manage to build up the rage bar for Hooney once he gets to these minions here, he does have the TP ready. Fnatic is moving. The arrow is very strong here early on, but this is a Nunu Kalista. This dragon was like 2k HP. It's dying.
Wow, 10 minutes 40 on the clock. Take a look at the gold difference. Only 3,000 in favor of Fnatic. It is 1 dragon to 1, 2 towers to 1. So Fnatic hold on to the objective lead as we're 4 minutes away from those graphs we looked at earlier. A much more controlled, aggressive play from this summer split version of Fnatic.
They're not giving away any deaths right here.
Let's see what happens. So Hillsing is walking in. Yellow's going to spot him.
Oh, the arrow, it flashed away! That was close. Felt like Reckless held on to that crystal arrow just half a second too long.
Yeah, but he wants to do it. He has to chain it perfectly, because otherwise he has no time to follow up, and then Hillsang will flash after the damage anyways, and he just wanted to make sure that he either gets the kill or he doesn't get it at all.
Getting the flash burn from the main engage on Unicorns of Love is a big deal for Fnatic all game long.
Eventually she will get Tibbers. Not yet.
She will get it soon, and then you know she's going to flash Tibbers onto Reckless. If they keep doing this and try and force it away from Hillsang, it's a win for Fnatic despite not getting a kill, because it now means you can play more aggressive in your lanes as well. You don't have to be so afraid of this combo coming from Kalista Annie soon.
The one problem for Fnatic right now is, if you're ahead, 2 towers, you definitely want to get that 3rd tower down in the mid lane, but you're playing against a Kog'Maw, which has so much wave clear, so there's a tiny risk that they can get caught out rotating in this jungle, so they have to do it safely. But knowing Fnatic, they have a lot of wards, and they have the new Ashe Hawkshot. Yeah. 2 charges charge up. If they get caught, it'll be a big mistake.
And here's what I would do if I'm Fnatic. I would wait for my Infinity Edge on my Ashe here, because it's such a big deal for her, seeing as she's always critting with her auto attacks, with the new modified crits here. So just getting Infinity Edge completed is a 30% damage increase just straight away, boom, right there. Get that completed, then you can walk mid, you can try and shoot Power of Evil with the arrow here. If he gets hit or just get poked out, that tower is yours, and that's how you can slowly play it and just wait for at least 1 item spike before you become too aggressive, because right now they have fine control to just sit passively in the lanes and just collect the farm.
Well, we do see the fans at home and in the audience are in favor of Fnatic. 75% of the vote for the Spring Split champions.
Yellowstar has to play back a little bit here, still level 5. He can get insta-pop. Once he hits level 6, he can actually put up more what they call forward zone. He can walk up and create zone for Reckless in a way that if he gets hit, he immediately pops his ulti and can counter-engage, and that way they can lane easier. But Febiven is going up PoE.
Oh, let's see if he can find the kill. Ignite's available, but Febiven decides not to follow up after using his full rotation.
Talking about the zone here, we can even say Febiven is somewhat doing the same in the mid lane. Fnatic always plays this way here, and it becomes even more impactful when you look at these pink wards we mentioned earlier in the game in this river here. So they take over the river vision, meaning whenever this Alistar or LeBlanc jumps forward, you think to yourself, there's a chance the jungler is here. So I cannot go and trade back, I cannot go all in, because I risk getting ganked then, and you just have to always back away. That makes you lose the trades, and you just slowly fall further and further behind then.
Yeah, good tempo from Fnatic so far, and also just like really good vision control. The one thing that speaks for Unicorns right now, they have that cheeky little pink ward down at the Wolves. Sometimes they will see Reignover rotating without him knowing that, but they haven't found an opening yet. 0 kills with the Kalista Annie lane, you know, Maokai, aggressive jungle like Nunu, and only 1 dragon. UOL is behind the curve at the moment.
And here's what UOL is waiting for. They want level 11 on Power People, and they want that Luden's Echo completed. That's where they always start grouping. They're doing a little bit early here compared to normal, but it's a good rotation because the lanes, we had the Gnar sitting top and we had both Reckless and Yellowstar sitting bot lane. So it just got a bit of free tower, but you're waiting for level 11 on Power of Evil, then you start making plays.
Yeah, and Power of Evil did pick up some damage just a moment or two ago with that needlessly large rod. Still no, you know, complete ticket items. Whereas Febiven, Morello Namikaze as well as those Sork shoes, chilling Smite versus challenging Smite in the jungle. Sidestone picked up for Kick, it's no surprise there, but really Fnatic, they've got their lead, they've held on to it, and they've not made any risks that could be punished.
I think this game will stay in a passive state with gradually moving the ward line up from Fnatic until the next dragon, and then we might see some action, but it's second dragon for both teams. Not entirely sure. They're moving to the jungle though.
Oh, Yellowstar, he does have that Unbreakable. He decides to engage. That's a flash pulverize. He headbutts Power of Evil into Febiven's hands, and Reignover knocks him right back in. There's no way for Power of Evil to get away.
Like I was wrong, Trevor.
And that's another kill we both were, Crepo, because I wasn't expecting that. The Yo-Yo gets pulled back, and Vardags throws him right back forward. Hylissang trying to find somebody from Fnatic to jump onto. Now, Huni does have Mega Gnar. Level 9. Let's see if Fnatic can find anybody else. I'll be happy with the mid tower.
Yeah, they break open that tower. That's so important.
It is. It is. So we didn't get the Infinity Edge on Reckless before they did it, but they did decide to swap him mid. Felt like now is the time to do it. They're pushing out for another one. Look on the flank here. We have Maokai coming in and Annie down on the bottom.
We'll have to see whether or not they can make an impact. Reckless has still got that Crystal Arrow available. Holds onto it for the time being.
The Unicorns only have like 2 forms of engage, you know, either Annie being thrown in by Kalista or just flash tippings, and then Maokai, but they're so far behind and there's so much vision from Fnatic that they're such a good team, you know, they won't get flanked that easily, and it's looking really good for Unicorns.
And look at that last play. We were seeing 2 guys sitting in mid lane, pushing it down. Suddenly Yellowstar walks in alone near the Raptor camp. It looks like he's getting caught out, but this is where Fnatic always does it so well, because Reignover was running from the other side of the tower already. 2 guys were running down from mid lane, so instantly, as Unicorn showed themselves, Yellowstar popped his ulti, headbutted Power of Evil back. That was a kill, that was a mid tower, and that's there. It looks risky, it looks very crazy, but they always seem to have a plan with it.
But it's like Daler said in one of his interviews, that's a coach for Fnatic. They make plays with high expected value, you know, they have the really good combo there, they kill somebody and they immediately take a tower. Earlier, Kalista was freezing the bot lane, Fnatic, they grouped up on top, they dove, CC chain, juggled the tower aggro beautifully and got the tower. Now they dove again, knock up into knock up, and they got the tower. Fnatic's playing calculated, they have a goal in mind every step they take.
And they have a 5,000 gold lead to play with. This is sort of the styles of the 2 compositions that we saw towards the end of the spring split, but Fnatic has just gone multiple levels better. The aggressive teams at MSI outperformed the passive teams at MSI, and it's Fnatic that are deciding the moves, deciding the exchanges, and they are making UOL dance to Fnatic's tempo.
But UOL wasn't aggressive. They have this passive farm poke mid lane, which is fine for them, but they didn't use the Kalista Annie at all. They didn't use the Maokai TP, no flanks. They're just, I think they're just not used to the LCS anymore, you know. Week 1, they're just starting to get into it. They had a little break. Hopefully, it'll get fixed.
But also, it just seemed like in Champ Select that they had this plan on the first 3 picks. You know, a lot of hard engage coming in. We want to try and dive onto the AD carry, and then you saw the big tanks and you just completely changed it. So with the Nunu pickup, in this case here to help the early game, he's not going to add any pressure. He's not going to help your 2v2 lane become even stronger or help your mid lane or sit and farm.
Yeah, well, the one thing we do have to highlight, the outer ring of turrets with the lead is always the easiest of objectives to take down. Let's see if Fnatic can push onto these inner rings, and if they can maintain that line of vision that has served them well till this point to avoid that hard engage from Hylissang with Flash, from Vizichachi with
However, PoE has shown he's a fantastic Kog'Maw player, and if he gets a couple more items and starts poking people down and the right people down at the right time, Fnatic may not have won the game just yet.
Sure, not yet. However, the comp they do run as well. I mean, I'm such a big fan of the new Ashe. I think she's absolutely amazing in professional play because of all the things she can. What you do now is when you 1-3-1 as Fnatic, because you don't want a group 5 where they're all this wave clear from Unicorns a lot with Power of Evil setting. So you 1-3-1, you keep your Ashe in the mid lane, because she has this arrow she can fire to the side lanes. And that's a way to set up an easy kill for someone like Febiven, or maybe Reyna was going down for a dive. And that's how you break open the defense of Unicorns a lot, and you then get a tower. Because if one guy dies, suddenly Unicorns have to move around all the pieces on the map to try and defend that tower, and that opens up somewhere else.
Fnatic last bit was notorious for sneaking these cheeky Barons, you know, 20 minutes, 21, 22 minutes. Even in solo queue, if you ever play against Yellowstar, you have to ward that, because at one point he'll rally his team behind him and just get that Baron. And then, yeah, it gets messy. So I definitely hope the Unicorns are ready for that, because they need to keep stalling. You know, you want to get Maokai to become this really, really big tank that can soak up damage. Meanwhile, while Kikis can buff Power of Evil, his W late game, AP Kog'Maw still does a lot of damage on his W late game.
Yeah, something you've also got to highlight. Luden's Echo has been completed by Power of Evil a little later than we're used to seeing.
Yeah.
That tier, 575 out of 750 stacks. Obviously, the theme's working wonders. So Power of Evil is starting to hit some big spikes. He's also level 11 to boot.
Yeah, some very important items for them. Righteous Glory for your Maokai in the top lane in case you want to make a catch. AD carry-wise, you got BT and the Kalista, so she's hitting the point in mid-game as well, where she's super, super strong. We talked about this earlier. Hylissang's going in.
That's a flash Tibbers. Reckless forced to flash away. He's down to 30% HP. We did see Hylissang being pulled backwards, but he's flung exactly perpendicular. The Unicorns of Love have got the damage onto Fnatic. This should open up the tower.
And we talked about this here from Unicorns of Love. What they always do with these poke mid laners, they wait for the correct power spike, and then they instantly group in the mid lane and they start pushing it down. This tower didn't get a kill sadly for them, but at least they got some gold. And that's important.
And the Unicorns are matching the right lanes as well. You know, Maokai will not die to LeBlanc. You know, he's pretty tanky, pretty beefy. He can survive that. So this bought Unicorns enough time for Power of Evil to hit that spike. And then a beautiful flash engage from Hylissang. He does not have Distortion Boots yet. So that means the next flash is going to be like 5 minutes out.
Wow, looks like Febiven actually got that blue buff from the little altercation in the jungle. But I also think it's important to keep our eye on Reckless. No flash from that engage previously.
Yeah.
He cannot afford to be, honestly, anywhere near a Maokai or any of those threats from UOL.
That means there's going to be a slight window where Hylissang will have flash and Reckless will have not, because he has a support mastery for it. No Distortion Boots on either side. Let's see if they capitalize that in 4 minutes from now.
And Fnatic stopped looking at the map at the moment, at least. They were not respecting the move Unicorns could make. This bot lane has been built up
really smart move.
Over 1 or 2 minutes ago from Vardax at first, and then he went mid lane to take mid side, instantly rotate down. They're again so strong with the poke. Let's see what happens here. All 5 members on the way, and that's a hawk shot. Boom!
Well, we do see Huni. Mega Gnar is very close to popping. He hops over the wall. Righteous Glory is going to give some speed here, but it's Fnatic that are a little split up. Huni's about to go Mega Gnar's Power of Evil has shredded down the cow. Now that's one victim from Fnatic. That's a 2-3-man Gnar against the wall. Huni's trying to do what he can as Febiven has found Power of Evil. The stun lands onto Hylissang, but it's not enough. Febiven has dropped Kikis' Nunu as Chachi will be the next victim. Fnatic turn it around. They've got 2 kills. The re-engage. Vardax is still a lot of HP and Power of Evil mana to play with. They end up trading a 2-for-2 as Unicorns of Love were in full retreats.
Meanwhile, PO is poking here. I really like it. Was like a multi-layered play, you know. UOL goes down on the bot lane. Fnatic reacts by trying to flank, but they split up. And in reaction to that, you saw them. You saw UOL turn around and take the fight, and you were wondering why, because Power of Evil was coming from the mid lane, blood boiled by Nunu, and they immediately took care of Yellowstar. Good reaction from Fnatic though. The double knock-up into knockback into Gragas barrel was almost lethal. Just watch the arrow in this fight later.
Yeah, and also Fnatic, we have to highlight they're missing so many key ultis and even flashes here for someone like Reckless. Look at Yellowstar, he's the first target because he had to use ulti beforehand. So Unicorns does get the first.
Keep your eyes on Hylissang right now. He's going to block the arrow for his mid laner in about 5 seconds, and this basically wins them the fight.
Also Huni on the Gnar, getting 3 guys blocked in. Febiven then with the damage, and Reckless joining now very late, but he has to be very careful in how close he gets to this Maokai, so keep backing in and out. And in the end, the teams will trade 2 kills for 2. Vardax, oh sorry, Hylissang got the very last one.
And such a confident play from Hylissang. Any other support, they would have opted to basically get thrown out, but he goes back in knowing he has another stun ready, he has tippers ready, and that makes the trade 2 for 2 instead of a 2 for 1 for Fnatic, and it just shows UOL is comfortable again on stage.
Scary thing is UOL are still about 4,000 gold down. They need to not give up more objectives. We do see Power of Evil securing his blue and the rest of Fnatic around the river.
And that's really where we have to give so much credit to Unicorns of Love, how they're not afraid to pull the trigger once they felt they were strong enough to make that play in mid lane. Had Fnatic been able to, you know, expected or predicted, they would have been 5 guys there already with a 5k goal lead, forced a fight with the arrow, and just won it straight away. So I really like how Unicorns are just looking at where Fnatic is on the map and instantly reacting to try and get down some of these towers they need.
We saw last splits, teams would go passive once they were behind, but Unicorns, they went passive, but they charged up, you know, they waited for the right time to strike, and then they got objectives and they stayed into the game, and that's really impressive because other teams would have just gotten snowballed on by Fnatic.
Yeah, and something we also have to highlight, 23 minutes in, there's 4 Dragons been in this game, 3 of them by Fnatic, and actually very early on we had that graphic pop up. Unicorns of Love had 2 victories that led from 5 Dragon games during the spring split. Fnatic at 0. Fnatic's a team that's not traditionally put a huge emphasis on Dragon. So number 1, it's growth, and number 2, it's against a Nunu. So great planning and strategic play out of this Fnatic squad.
It's a bit of an EDG style from Fnatic, as we saw at MSI as well from them. It's more about getting this Baron here to close out the game, because Baron is really the big deal in this current meta. Also, when you're getting so much, you know, poke and AP damage from Unicorns who love to clear the waves, once you have that Baron buff to buff up these minions here, Power People won't have that easy of a time, and you will get to at least set up either a dive or get some damage on tower in every wave.
We're building up to the next siege or the next fight. Hillsing has flash, no flash on Power of Evil though, and no flash on Vardax. So UOL will have to be careful of flanks. You know, Alistar wants to come from one side, Gragas might be coming from the other side, but if they're careful and they get the right flash Tibbles, they can win these fights.
Yeah, some big item thresholds have been completed as it's 25 minutes on the clock. Febiven's been on that death cap in Morello for a while. Righteous in Reignover's hands, as well as the Randuin's Omen for Huni. A lot of tank stats and armor primarily being built up on the side of Unicorns of Love. As Vardax, he's got his Hurricane, he's got his Bloodthirster, so there's a lot of sustain if he doesn't get burst down.
I remember Hurricane as well got a small buff here on this patch. It is, as like a second item, damage-wise, the strongest, but he's still gonna have that problem later on in game where he doesn't have any crit to take down some of these tanks from Fnatic. We're gonna have to see if it's gonna be a problem for him. Also adds in Optis who makes a way clear. But if you look also at the big tanks, you highlighted the armor from Unicorns of Love. We can see how both teams, tank-wise, are building to engage on each other. Righteous Glory, first item for Reignover, not going frozen hard or anything to stop some of the damage from Vardax or the auto-attacking coming in from Power of Evil. That's going to be a key item for him later if he wants to stack some armor that way. But for now, it's about engaging from Fnatic, it's about engaging from Unicorns of Love and smack into each other.
There's a lot of pressure on Power of Evil right now because Fnatic is building to catch him out. Body Slam Flash, you know, double distortion from LeBlanc. They really want to get him because if he falls, the entire, like, he's the crux of Unicorn's lineup right now. If he falls, it's over for them. But he's been playing really well so far. Only 1 death. He's scaling a lot of farm. 224 CS right now at the 26-minute mark. That is a good number.
It's a different build from what we've seen the previous times he's run Kog'Maw. Early haunting guys, get some of that magic pen.
So we have seen, I mean, you're right. We've seen many different builds from Power of Evil. I like this one. You need to get that Leandris for the extra poke damage because, again, for him, it's not even about killing people. It's about poking them low enough so they have to back away from a tower on objective, and that secures it for Unicorns of Love without maybe even fighting at all, which is definitely in their favor because we have this Nunu Kalista that can so easily take down Baron or Dragon if Fnatic is too far away or forced back in base.
Basically, the game is in a pretty stagnant state right now, and what's going to happen is, what's really important right now, and what you often don't see, is the side lane control. Both these teams want to maneuver the side lanes to a point where they start pushing in their favor, and the other team has to send somebody to react. Yeah, meanwhile, they might run around in the jungle, snowball each other a couple times, but not much is going to happen. They want to force people down to the side lanes, and then group and get a numbers advantage, and force to engage that way. But it's a slow and steady process.
We talked about this 10 minutes ago, about how good Fnatic were looking, and all of a sudden, the game is stalled out to the point that Unicorns of Love are now the ones making some aggressive plays. Reignover has gone for the flash body slam, but he's getting caught out. He's stunned. Kikis is trying to do that absolute 0 for zone control, but it's Febiven that's on the back line. Forced the distortion away. Now Reignover is down. The Enchanted Crystal now catches Chachi. The Power of Evil and Vardax. The carries are locked up against the wall. Febiven's got one more in the background as Kikis is down. Chachi's trying to zone away what he can, but that tree's not going to last long enough. Vardax trying to lifesteal off the Scuttle Crab as he tries to dance and hop himself away. It's a 2-for-1 in favor of Fnatic, but can they get more? Febiven's looking for the chase. Dragon's a minute and a half away. They're going to risk running further.
Unicorn's a little bit greedy here for the first kill on Reignover. Again, it's not about getting the kill, it's about forcing them out of the fight and back into their own base so you take down their towers instead. Here they were chasing for that 1 kill, meant suddenly they were in pretty risky positions and then got jumped on. We're just going to see the start. Reignover flashing and missing it, but then look how Unicorns are going to try and finish up the kill on him, Look at the arrow,
though. The arrow could have ideally went more to the right instead of on the main tank. We should have tried to hit one of the two carries. Really good gnarl from Huni though.
Yeah, second time. Last fight down near the dragon, it was the same deal for Huni with the gnarl. This really good setup. This was one of his problems in the spring split. We never really saw him do well on Gnar and Maokai. He's showing up today.
I want to highlight though that Reynov didn't miss his flash. Bardex flashed out of the body slam flash. He predicted that the flash was going to happen. He respected Reinover enough. You know, if I see a body slam, that's going to be coupled by a flash to carry over that knockup, you know, with the flash all the way. Bardex predicted it, got out, but he got sniped by Febevin in the back. 2 for 1 though, UOL, like they're getting out of these fights, and Fnatic is getting a little impatient there. You know, they have to do these body slam flash engages or get a nice flank off, but it's not working. UOL's respecting them a lot.
I think a big problem for Fnatic was just they had this whole plan of we do the 1-3-1 now and we try and play around where Power of Evil is so we don't have to push the lane he's sitting into wave clear, and we impact the side lanes with Gnar and LeBlanc. That completely stopped when Unicorns made that move and got the mid tower grouped up as 5, because whenever we have these big 5-on-5s, we see how close it is, and if Unicorns get enough time, they will land the poke they need to be in a very, very good position, and that's a problem for Fnatic.
This is interesting. They sent Kog'Maw all the way to the bot lane, and once he got there, he realized that he actually had to be mid. I think this is a mistake by UOL.
See what happens mid there. They're going on Kikis.
We will find out. Reynova does find Kikis, and Kikis is obliterated by Febevin. We do see Tibbus is knocked all the way back as Bardex has pulled Hylissang in. Hylissang unable to knock up more.
Power of Evil is stuck on the side. He can't join his fight.
He's trying to get further in. Power of Evil, as you said, on the Tribush right-hand side. We do see him throwing out that Void Ooze, but it's simply not enough. And Fnatic find another engage as we're about to hit 30 minutes. They're back in control.
And I want to see the gold because I think Power of Evil was close to an item spike and he wanted to pick up that fat pop wave all the way for that juicy farm. But once he got there, he realized his team was exposed in the mid lane. Baron was a threat. And yeah, he was probably close to finish his Archangel staff there. And I think that cost UOL a lot. They lost the tempo. He tried to join the fight, but he couldn't in time. And Fnatic, nice control.
He's still poking away, and they're stuck near the Baron here from Fnatic's side. A lot of damage from Unicorns.
Well, let's see what they can do. Unicorns unable to interrupt the Baron. Really sort of not even fully committed to interrupting it. So let's quickly take stock, guys. 3 towers to 3, 10 kills to 3. And it's nearly 7,000 gold. Fnatic have got the key ingredient that Officio, you said, was going to crack open Unicorn's base.
Baron, and then also the wave already pushing. Unicorns didn't go down to try and clear it. They went mid lane and try and maybe take a dragon instead.
They want the Constellation Dragon to at least avoid that 5th dragon coming out from Fnatic.
But if that opens up your base.
The base is going to open anyways with Baron.
Well, Chachi's down. Power of Evil is caught out. The barrel's going to knock them away. The rest of Fnatic get a couple auto attacks onto the tower, but it's not enough. Reckless is going to sidestep at least one of those living artilleries, but they do get themselves another kill at the cost of losing Febvin.
And the dragon, of course. So they did end up making a good decision in taking Power of Evil down to defend, while the Kalista could take the dragon.
I think it was the right choice.
Yeah, I think, I mean, so they lost one tower here. Fnatic decided though to chase for the kill instead of the tower, so we don't know what could have happened had they just played it more relaxed and took the big wave to get some damage, because Ashe as well, with a Q, once you have the 5 stack, can really do a lot of tower damage. But for now, Dragon for Unicorns, Baron for Fnatic though.
We're about 10 to 11 minutes away from a potential 5th dragon from Fnatic, so UOL just bought them some more time in the game. Obviously they're behind, but they're a smart team, you know, they've learned from their mistake now. They need to keep Kog'Maw central because he's vital to their wave clear. Kog'Maw can clear waves in uneven numbers, 1 against 2, 2 against 3. He can get those waves cleared without being in danger.
Yeah, and the thing is for Unicorns, they've been able to stall because of the fact Fnatic has needed to play for the Baron. So that extra couple of minutes may be enough for Unicorns.
And the second Power of Evil stepped away and wasn't there to try and land some of this poke and clear the waves. That's where Fnatic, and that's why they built something like Righteous Glory as the first item on Reignover to punish him Arrow and the Gragas going in. That's how you force the fight instantly. Bot lane towers, well, the 2 side lanes here, Unicorns have not been able to control the waves, and therefore allowed Fnatic now 2 towers with the Baron.
And this is why I like going for the Dragon right after a Baron is down, because you're gonna lose your outer towers anyways. It's a matter of time, you know, either you lose them immediately or you lose them a little later. Those Baron creeps, they're too strong to defend, and it's such a vulnerable position. In your base you're safe because you have safety behind walls, but defending those tier 2 towers, that's too much flank opportunity for Fnatic. UOL has to back off anyways, but they bought them some time, you know, 2 dragons against 3. Fnatic siege up for the last 2 tower in mid here.
I will see that Baron is slowly wearing off. Fnatic are split, 4 members in the mid lane. We do see Febevin hanging out towards the bottom lane. All of the outer turrets are down. Fnatic in absolute control of the map. Now they can see what further pressure they can apply on UOL's base.
We just needed one big fight that led to the Baron for Fnatic. Obviously had a few times where they tried the engages. Now 10k goal lead once again. Let's look at some of the items completed for them.
Really big pickup here on Reckless. The QSS Quicksilver Sash picked up. He can basically cleanse out of the Annie-stun, and the only thing that can take him down now is the snare into knock up from Maokai, but he can flash that or poke from Power of Evil, and this means a lot. This means Fnatic puts less resources on peeling, because Reckless can take care of himself, and move more resources forward to diving, and that's going to be really important because they want to shut PoE down.
And something we have to highlight, if you look at Reckless's CS at this stage in the game, in contrast to Huni, this is a slight shift in Fnatic playstyle. You touched on the CS difference and the CS priority from Fnatic in the spring split.
That's a good point.
Game 1, it's instantly reversed.
But it's also Huni not playing a carry top laner. He's on the tank this time around here, so they are basically saying, we rely on Reckless and Febvent to be the main damage dealers in this game, so obviously they need that extra farm, and as long as they can stay safe, or at least Reckless can stay safe, Fnatic have great damage from here on out.
Yeah, versatility and playstyle is what you need once you move towards the world stage. You know, Fnatic, they could play linear playstyle in the season in Europe, that was fine, but if they want to do well at Worlds, it's going to be nice to see if they can play around Huni one game, around Reckless. We'll have to see whether Reckless can do well with less farm and Huni with more in this team environment, but it's nice to see that they can shake things up so far at least.
It's so exciting that we have these questions now moving forward and seeing how Fnatic can develop and grow, because Yellowstar said it in the opening weeks of Spring Split, just give us time. We only have one playstyle, but we can learn, we can adapt. And they're one of the teams that's showing it. UOL also, in some ways, they went from just sort of like team fight, team comms to poking mids, which is also great, but it's not quite being executed as well today in summer.
It is fun though. It's two teams who, despite ending number 1 and number 2 in the UOL CS, are very down to earth. They're always talking about how we know we have a lot of things to work on, we know we need to fix a lot of problems, and it's really cool to see how they can adapt now during the split. Fnatic already coming off to a great start, but Unicorns are definitely not giving up.
I actually like putting Ashe in the top lane here because they have the 3 tanks in the mid lane. In a 1-3-1, your mid lane is prone to getting grouped on, but 3 tanks there makes them really tanky. Well, they're engaging.
While sidestep from the Ashe, Yellowstar gets in, he manages to get a big knock-up. We'll see whether or not that Maokai is enough frontline. Now Feathervin's joined the fight. Hylissang, I think, flashed forward for that one. Instant QSF from Reckless, but the massive Gnar against the wall. Fnatic have just won the team fight thanks to Huni. 4 members of Unicorns of Love are down, and Fnatic are pushing through. Huni, once again, delivers for Fnatic.
And this is actually all the QSS. I want to listen to the comms right here because I think UOL said, Hylissang said, guys, I got Reckless, flash Tibbers, I got him. He immediately cleansed out, and this dragged the entire Unicorns lineup forward, and they basically walked into Huni, smacked him into a wall.
20-second death time as Fnatic are going to set their sights on the Nexus. The only team that's been able to defend it a few times was Unicorns of Love, but it's not going to be enough this time round. Unicorns are down, Power of Evil's poking from the side, the Nexus is hammered away, and the Spring Split champions open up summer with a massive victory over the Unicorns of Love.